We're live.
All right, very nice.
What up? What up, all the boys and girls watching this, all the moms and all the aunts? This is Justin with Studio G, and this is GTS. Today we have on our panel host and our special guest here, we have a teacher who turned into a Gunpla builder. We have Jazz, Master Grade Jazz, and we have Derek over here. And let us give us the biggest welcome that you can give to our featured special guest right here, Otaku Builder, or should we address him as James on the show today? What up, everybody? How you guys doing?
Well,
Doing
I'll
good.
let James talk. Yeah. How are you? How
Yep.
are you, James?
It's hitting triple digits here in Pasadena. It's an everyday thing that happens here, but we deal with it, we work around it, and we persevere. But other than that, yeah, I'm doing good. Just gotta keep myself hydrated, not stay you know, lightheaded or whatnot. But yeah, I'm good. How about you guys?
Well, we're doing well. I want to introduce Derek. You guys, well, he needs no introduction because you guys have seen him on the second episode, if I'm not mistaken,
Yep.
of GTS.
Yep.
Yes.
Derek will be joining us as a new co-host here on GTS. Derek, you have any words for everybody out?
Oh, I'm very excited to be here, and I'm very happy to work along with Jess and Justin and everyone, especially to be on the first episode and again meet James. That's epic as it gets there. So thank you
Thank you
guys.
very
Yes.
much.
Meeting James. We hope that everybody's doing well. Welcome to season 2 of GTS, where we're going to start off things with Otakubuilder, aka James. This is Jess, Master Grade Jess, and we're just glad to be back. It's been a whole month and like a week or something since we've been gone. It was needed because we all needed breaks. Justin has been blowing up on YouTube as he always does. I mean, he just keeps on growing. You can't stop this guy. I mean, he even launched his own paint, didn't you? Just
Yep, I am. I am. I've been really, really blessed to have my very own paint line. Currently, we just did our first batch of shipping out, and then moving forward with second batches and a third batch as well. So things has been really, really crazy here in the studio. Super messy back there. So apologize for anybody who is a little bit OCD. But then again, I cut my hand. I cut my
oh,
finger.
Mm.
nice.
So
And how did that happen?
right? Yeah, it actually happened when I was trying to open up a bottle of oil and then just trying to like use the knife and try to open it up like how you open a wine, like a champagne
Oh,
Mm.
thing.
okay. That's always
And
smart.
then, yep, that is a very smart move from me. And then I sliced my thumb from that. But anyway, this show is not about me. It's not about all of us. It's about James today,
Oh no.
right?
Yes.
Right.
Great.
Yes.
So James is like okay, so before anything else, don't forget to join us on our Discord channel. So if you guys want to be part of the community, you guys want to connect with us, you guys want to connect with all these awesome guys right here, join us on our Discord. Okay, so
Yes.
we have a very active community there. They talk a lot, a little bit too much actually, but you guys like to talk, you guys like to connect, you guys like to learn something from each other. Go join our Discord. Now let's get back to James, where the camera should be on him.
Yes.
So
Yes.
James is now Otaku Builder. You
Yes.
are you are the LED master on YouTube.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
you
Cool.
are. Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
If you claim that you're number two, nobody is even there to come close to being number one, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
the thing. So that's the thing. You do crazy modification, you do crazy customizations with your LEDs. So do you have like a degree in engineering, in electronics engineering, or something like that? Or how do you
I
come about with that?
I actually went to the Art Institute of Los Angeles, California for 3 years, and I majored in video game and art design. And then after year two, the program wasn't becoming as the way I would imagine would be. There was a lot of talks going around that a lot of students that were starting to graduate weren't getting the degrees that they were really working for. Other parts of it that the college did promise them that, hey, if you get everything done, we'll find you a job for it and you'll be great. And for me, I was already starting to feel burnt out. I kind of got tired doing, one 3D rig over another and doing like principal 3D modeling. So I switched majors and went to graphic design. And that was probably like the best decision I did when I was at the Art Institute.
Good
Uh,
choice.
Shortly after that, this was probably like around 2008, maybe nine, the economy tanked. So people started to have like issues trying to find a job. I had a difficult time trying to get a job at Santa Monica Studios. That was like my target goal, and trying to get a gig at Naughty Dog because they're
Ooh.
well renowned
Oh,
for
Naughty
their
Dog, yeah.
for their games, and they're like literally here in my backyard. So that fell in between the cracks, and I was kind of like stuck in limbo for a long time. So I had a side gig doing part-time work for Walt Disney, doing
Wow.
sound engineering for about
Wow.
I want to say 3 or 2 years, and then that tanked, and they laid us
Oh.
all off.
Oh.
So it's like I'm going up, I'm going down, going up, going down, and then I'm out. So I was back to square one, and I had to really sit down and just think to myself, like, okay, I got a crap ton of student loan debt that's going to get me really quick.
Yeah.
How am I going to survive? So for close to 7 years, I started doing commission artworks for various websites like DeviantArt, Furry Fertility, and Weasley.com. In short, I did a lot of furry artwork. A lot of it has to do with the fact because I love anthropomorphic characters. You know, I see them in video games, see them in Walt Disney films. Absolutely love that stuff. So I did that for a very long time, and it paid well. But after year 7, I started to feel a little burnt out. On top of that, people weren't really interested in my work because a lot of what people want on that website is adult content, and I made it very clear, like, I'm not going to do anything over the top. You know, I'm not going to do anything really bizarre. I'll do some tasteful stuff, but I'm not going past that limit. You know, I want to keep it like PG-13, maybe some other things. And unfortunately, that was like the end of doing freelance work because people wanted that particular style. So I'm like, okay, I'm back to square 3 again. So
that's better than 1. So
true. I mean, yeah. So yeah, and at that time, I was just really trying to think to myself, gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, maybe I just need to clear my head out. Let me just dive into the world of YouTube because it was relatively new at the time. There was a lot of up and coming YouTube content from left and right. So started watching a lot of random animes, and then all of a sudden I came across a YouTube channel called Robert R's 2 Hours 2B. And all he basically did was just build Gunpla and then just share his impressions about what he built. And we're not talking about anything like crazy elaborate camera angles or obscured lighting effects. He was just like very passionate on what he built, while at the same time he really wanted to get his thoughts out on what he wanted to show to his audience. And I found it really uplifting because he would always make content every Sunday, whether it's something with Double Exia or a Vercog kit like the Sazabi or the new Gundam, and then he would jump back and tackle some older Gundam kits. So I found it really exciting to watch his videos more and more. So I thought to myself, okay, I didn't really like Gundam back in the early 90s, so maybe I should really consider jumping into this realm and see what really catches my eye. And unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of Gundam shows out there. I like, I forget the name of the one. That's the military one. It was like 0080. I forget the name of the military.
08?
08, correct. That is the one. Loved that. And then I didn't like anything else. And then
what about the Wing? Because the Wing Gundam is one of the first. It is the first that was shown in the U.S., right?
Yes, it came out around the time when I was finishing up high school, and unfortunately for me, I was poor. Okay, the only way we were able to watch Gundam is if you had cable network, and for my father being single, you know, we only got what we could watch, which was just, you know, live television. So the only way we can watch Gundam is either I knew a friend who can take what he watched from cable, save it onto a VHS tape, and then send it to me, and I would get, okay, I'm done. Give me another episode, back and forth, and you know, I would watch everything from.
Those were the days where we could record, like we could literally record on our VHS tapes. I mean, who here has done that?
Oh, tons.
We've all done that.
Tons.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, way before DVRs even came out or anything, you know, recording
exactly
episodes on TV. But anyway, so Wing Gundam, you couldn't watch it, right? And you said you liked 8MS Team, right?
Yeah, like I didn't get a chance to watch from the beginning to the end of Wing Zero, so my friend ended up giving me the OVA film, which I really did enjoy. But at the same time, I couldn't really get invested with the characters because I wasn't really following them from beginning to the end. The only thing what my brain was thinking at the time is like, I just want to look at the cool animations. I want to listen to the original soundtrack, and I just want to see nothing but actions, lasers, mechs being blown up, mechs being damaged, mechs flying. That's all I want to
Yeah.
see.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
all
Yep.
that wonderful splendor. And then I got bored.
Oh,
Yeah, because most of the shows, I mean, most of the animes, I mean, from a perspective where you watch it like in recent years, where the rest of the world's quality of anime has gone up so well in the script writing and all that, you just like can't help yourself to feel that those kind of animes,
Mm.
the Gundam animes, are a little bit of lackluster, I would say, in terms of the script, in terms of
Yes.
making things interesting. So I mean, coming from a guy who just watched all these animes recently, I do really feel that, and like I do have a fallout like from time to time. I'll take a
Yes.
break from Gundams. I'll watch Demon Slayer, then go back to Gundam for a little bit, stuff like
Mhm.
that. I mean, what about Derek? I mean, you pretty much watch everything. I mean,
oh shoot! I remember.
so I mean, in terms of expert, probably you're the expert here.
Oh yeah, Derek is the expert in
Like,
anything Gundam.
can
He
you
is like
please like
encyclopedia.
share with our audience as well on when you watch for this kind of show, what kept you going, right? Because to be honest, they're not so that interesting,
Mm.
right? Especially on the politics part and stuff like that.
Well, the thing is, a
Mm.
lot of it repeats, but the fact is, like, the most intriguing part about watching all the Gundam series is see what changes too between a lot of them. Like, if you watch MSO8, right, you probably get like start into Universal Century, then you sort of say there gotta be more. I want to watch more of it.
Mm.
So then that's how you really get hooked into like watching Igloo. Then you watch War in the Pocket. Then you get into what's it? 008. Stardust Memory. Then you say, "Oh,
Stardust
I
Memory.
really love the style," and then you start falling in love, and then you get more curious, right? So you start seeing all these different models, weapons. The character plots are neat, but to be honest, let's be honest, we all love the mechs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm there for
Yeah,
the next.
nobody
That's all.
exactly.
Mm.
Nobody is into Gundam for the character. Well, some. I want
Some.
to say nobody. Yeah, because for example, we've said it on the show before. Char is one of my favorites, right? And he's a really I love that character, right? I like him more than Amaro, but we all really like the mechs, and I'm sure that was the same for you, James, right?
Oh no, I actually did Char. I dig Char Osnabal. I thought he
right.
was he's a fascinating character. I mean, holy cow. I mean,
He is.
I liked it just like the basic characters. And, like I love Setsuna FC from Double O Gundam, and I love Mika. Well, Mika's kind of he's very he's just weird. But the fact that he's an incredible pilot, that's besides it. But there's something that's really creepy yet something fascinating about Char Osnabal.
Right.
He's sincere, but at the same time he's not. And at the same time, he's a villain, but he's not. He's kind of like Thanos. He has his ideas of what he wants to accomplish for his
Right.
goals, but
Right.
it's not exactly like evil. It's just his
Right,
agenda and his
right.
goals and what he
It's
wants
not,
to
it's
do.
not really a clear cut on his evil. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he has a purpose behind his evil. I mean, he does all the necessary things that makes him evil.
Mhm.
Right. It needs to be done. Correct.
Mhm.
So James, okay, recommend to us all, especially to our audience who are watching this, if you guys haven't watched any single episode of Gundam animes yet, what would you recommend, James?
I am a fighting game enthusiast, and at the same time, I'm a big fan when it comes to customization. So, I would nominate Gundam Build Fighters Season 1 and 2. It is
Oh.
incredible because I was at that point where I'm like, okay, I watched Double O Gundam. I'll eventually, check out some other things. But then YouTube or Gundam, the Gundam channel on YouTube was like, oh, here's something new. Might check it out. And literally the first 10 minutes of that show, I'm like, oh, this relates to me. I spend my time building these kits, making them look pretty. But, I'm very shy. I'm very closed off to the world, but I can really express myself through these kits. I wish I had that one friend that can just push me just to the next level to get out of my comfort zone. And then you have that one supporting character, Renji,
Yes.
that supports. Is it Asei? Is that the main character's name?
Yep. It's
Asei. Yeah.
oh
I mean, it's just like everything down to that show, to the character designs, the character developments, the original soundtrack. When it gets to like really amped up fighting scenes between mobile suits between one another in the arena, It's just really anti. Like I would say the best episode is when Sei and Renji were fighting Finiche.
Yes.
And they're just slugging each other left and right, and their mechs are just falling apart. You seen the head getting popped off. There's wear and tear in the machine. They have one arm left, one another. He charges up his RG engine, and Finiche goes with his wrapped up, I guess you can clove fist, and they clash like Ken and Ryu, and they just double KO each other. I'm just like, oh. And then the orchestral music kicks in, and it swells up. Wow. It made me very teary. I was like, babe, I'm so sorry.
Really?
This is hitting me really hard. This is so good.
That's awesome. It's so awesome to see this passion coming from you because, I've talked to Derek about this a lot. I don't like a G fight, the build fighter series. I don't like. I feel it's a little childish in my opinion, right?
Sure.
But you talking about this makes me want to watch that episode, right?
Now
I would say watch it in Japanese. Watch it in Japanese. The English dub sucks. I'm not sure.
Not there.
I don't know who they hired, but you feel a connection with the characters, especially at that last moment when the mechs are just knocked out and they just power down, and then the audience just dead silent, and you just hear a very faint clap, and the cloud roars, and the music kicks up. And then you just see the you see the main character say like he's about to bawl into tears because he's like, oh, I put all my love and energy into this kid, but he got us to the grand finals. Yes, we're gonna keep pushing forward. And I'm like, cool. When's episode 8 coming? I'm ready.
Right.
Oh, such a great series.
Amazing.
So that's the one with they're in this kind of an arena, and then they have this ball thing as a control. Is that the one?
Yep.
Yes.
Plofsky.
I've seen screenshots of them, but I didn't know which one to look for because the one that I watched recently was the one that they went into GPN. That's the one that I watched.
Bill Divers.
For a little bit. Right?
Yes.
Oh, those are the divers. So you're talking about the very first anime.
I would say it. There was a prototype series. I think there was only 2 episodes that was supposed to be like an introduction into build fighters.
It's called.
But I think.
Was it Gundam? Was it Builders? I think it was.
Yes.
They only had the 2 episodes. It was sad.
Only the 2.
Yeah.
It was just there like, hey, we got a kit. Buy it. It's only a high grade. You guys will love it. No one bought it.
Well, actually, believe it or not, it was actually an intention test from Bandai to try to see if they can get the younger generation of kids actually to get into building Gundams. It was right before they did Gundam Age, actually. They did it as a test pilot just to see exactly if they can get that riled up, but it was too early. After that, they tried Gundam Age. Then it sort of flopped really bad.
Ooh, it did. Ooh, yeah.
I see. Well, like hearing you say all that, James. I mean, the passion, the raw passion. I mean, you with the right hook, with the left hook, with the closed fist and open fist and whatnot, makes me want to close all the tabs right now and just get into watching that. I'm pretty sure anybody who heard you, because you yourself, is a little bit contagious.
Oh.
In a good
way. I'm sorry.
Wait, are you hitting on him? Because he's got a fiance, man.
No, I don't care. I don't care, man. Because you're here with a beautiful voice, you have a beautiful face, carry yourself well, and I just want to know. Like we gotta go into the generic questions right now, right, guys? So
the generic question. So, James, in our episodes with our guests, we always have generic questions for them.
Okay.
Right? So now we're gonna go through them. You can answer them at your pace.
Sure.
Right. So, question number 1, the most generic of them all: how did you get started in Gunpla?
In Gunpla, specifically Gunpla.
Okay. The year was 1994. I was just finishing up middle school, and the only thing I really did at that time was roaming around Pasadena, California. So here, well, they're no longer here anymore. We would have 2 arcades that we would that I would go to regularly when I was getting off of school. It was called the Pac-Man Arcade, and it was called the Western Arcade. And at the Western Arcade, I played that game in the far back a hell of a lot called Virtual On. And since it was close to a college, every single Friday there would always be dudes be playing that game. Everyone be playing it, just versing, because it was like a versing machine between one and another, and it was just great. 50 cents, you can spend as much time as you want there. But after I was done there, I wanted to go to the other arcade that was at the mall, which was the Tilt Arcade. And at that time, it was always jam-packed. Everyone was playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Killer Instincts, Soul Edge, which is now called Soul Calibur, And it was just really difficult just to go have fun in there. So in the far back in the mall, there was a little something of a store called Comic Odyssey. And that was literally my first introduction into like the world of Japanese animation. Everything to wall scrolls, to collectible figurines, even like cards that had like Sailor Moon characters, Dragon Ball, One Piece characters. I was just like, what world did I just jump into? This is incredible. I don't know where to start. Like, there's just a massive wall of VHS tapes ranging from like the classic animes and in the very back, the extra special animes for the young kids and adults. But in this little corner in the store is where I saw all these unique designs. And the first thing that caught my eye was a little model kit called Tekkaman Blade, because I was absolutely loving that show. It was on Channel 13. And all of a sudden, I saw something that said Gundam. I was like, what's a Gundam? And the first kit that caught my eye, I wish I had the box with me. I couldn't find it. The first kit I ever built was the high-grade Victory Gundam. And that kit was, I don't know, there was something special about it. I think because it had the transforming gimmick where you can transform into like, what, 3 different core fighters? If my memory serves me correctly?
Yep, that's correct.
Maybe 3 or 2. And I was like, this is really cool. How much does it cost? Looked at the box, $30. I'm like, I got enough of my allowance to buy it. Sure, why not? I'll check it out. And I took it home, took it out of the box. Didn't have a good pair of snippers, so I kind of just worked what I had, what my father had lying around. It's got an X-Acto blade, cut the pieces out the best I can. And I remember just being like so tired and overwhelmed, like to dealing with so many small pieces, because this is coming from a time where I literally played with Legos a lot as a kid. And I made everything I could possibly imagine from scraps and random pieces that I can find. But jumping back into building model kits again after like a 4 to 6 years hiatus was really refreshing. But the one part that always bugged me about the kit is I want to make it look like just like the box. There's no way I can get it close to. How do I get panel lining? How do I make it look nice and soft, because it looks very waxy? Why did the stickers look nothing like on the box there? They look like decals. Where can I find the decals? And keep in mind, this is like around the time where the internet was just, it was vast, but it was very impotent. So the only way you knew someone that actually knew something about Gundam is you had to go to a hobby store. And in the hobby stores that were in my area, no one cared about Gundam. You know, it was all about Star Wars, Star Trek, Batman, RC cars, and model rockets. That's it. Gundam didn't make it like an official surgence here until like, I would say late 1997 or 98. And that's when you started to see like a lot of high grades on the shelves and then master grades. You know, it was like just really confusing at the same time, very overwhelming. And then I dropped out of it. You know, I was more focused on seeing other different mechs out there besides just Gundam. You know, like I said, like I mentioned before, I like Tekkaman. Tekkaman's not a mech series, but his actual design is very mech-like. Even though the story's trash, the actual art direction of that suit, it's beautiful. Nice seam lines, very organic, nice bold white and red colors, and it just screams speed, and I absolutely love that. But they never made any more kits after that. They only had like Saber, and then I think the main character was like D-Boy, short for danger. It was a stupid name, but yeah. But you know, at that time, Gundam Wing was becoming big, really big. But I wasn't really focusing on that. Right now, at that time, I'm literally going into high school. I'm trying to get into an art major. I'm trying to find what really fits for me that I can do for a living. And then it wasn't until high school, not after, it was shortly after I was done with college, after I watched a couple more episodes of Robert R. 2 Hours 2B, where I bought my very first master grade, and that was the Double Exia. And I was like, this kit literally encapsulates the problems I had with the early Gundam series. I did not like the double slitted mouth at a time. I thought it was kind of weird, but this one went with a nice sharp angular look. And I thought that was like really unique. And the overall design of Exia is very reminiscent to another popular, well, I wouldn't say it's popular, but I guess it's popular to certain fans, called Zone of the Enders. Yes. And there is a mech named Jehudi.
Yes.
And actually I have it right here. Jehudi right here.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
Freaking love this. I mean, like I said in my video, the cockpit's a bit distracting, but
Yep.
this
I
overall,
was just about to say that. That's the first thing I
Legitimate
noticed.
cockpit.
but
Legit.
this design has the same kind of similarities like with Exit. It has its own melee weapon on the side, which is like a nice weapon. It has also a mid-range weapon as well as connected to the saber itself. And at the same time, it's just very mobile and just very pretty to look at. So I'm like, okay, I found the Gundam series that I'm hooked. I mean, I have watched everything from Nadisco, Rasafon, Gurren Lagann. You know, I'm trying to get back into Gundam, and I think Gundam has got me hooked. I'm going to continue watching Double O Gundam. I'm going to keep on building as many kits I had. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy that Double O Gundam came out at the time because I was kind of like going through a phase where I was a little depressed. I didn't know what I was doing, but Gundam itself just kind of opened up a new door for me to really get back into the hobby that I missed doing when I was like 8 years old, because it was like a thing that me and my father did a lot. After we would go clean our neighbors' yards every Sunday, he would take us to take me and my younger brother to the hobby store, and we'd just buy random model kits, which was Star Wars and Star Trek, Back to the Future, and whatever things they had for little kids for affordable use. So yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
that was a little
that's
longer
awesome,
than I thought. Sorry.
No, hey, don't worry about it, man. It's your show, right?
It's a really beautiful memory.
It
right?
is.
Like, it all started from there. I mean, the time that you spent with your dad. I mean, to every boy, that's got to be a very special moment, right? Because I had one with my dad building like battleships out of super glue. We don't even paint it. We just clip it and super glue it, and he's telling me to do this, telling me to do that. But I enjoyed it, every single thing, right? So, anything you guys want to add on to it, Derek and Jess?
Man. I love Zone of the Enders. There was actually a Game Boy Advance game, and I killed that. I killed 2 Game Boy Advances playing that game.
Yeah. Oh my God, Second Runner's incredible too.
Yes.
What they learned from part 1 and part 2. Perfection.
Do you ever play the VR on that?
Let's just say that my money's really diverted towards getting more kits instead of buying another VR. I'm like, I want to buy some more video games, but it's Zone of the Enders. It's in VR. That means I got to buy a VR headset. That means I got to have a PlayStation Pro to make it run properly.
Yeah.
Yet there's another model kit coming out.
Yep.
Range.
Yep.
What would make me happy? They both are my favorite kind of genre, but
one is
would
much
actually-
less.
yes, it's all about the money on what I can afford. But without it, I will eventually try out the VR version. I will try that out. It's just a matter of time. I hope I have time before the next gen consoles roll out. But yeah, I will without a doubt check it out when I have the time.
Cool.
Right.
Cool. Well, another one of the questions we have for you is, who do you look to for inspiration when it comes to your Gunpla building? Like, when you started doing all this, who did you look up to? Right? Because in some way, most of us have heroes before we begin. In this case, who was your inspiration?
It's actually, well, here's the thing. When it came to Gunpla content, I spent a lot of my time on Instagram. And, around the time trying to look for like the right kind of Gundam content to really like on YouTube was very vast. And there wasn't one that really gravitated to it. There was one by the name of Vegeta who did really beautiful weathering techniques on his models. And then all of a sudden he stopped.
Yeah, he stopped.
Which is unfortunate, but I can understand, you do something for a long time, you eventually get tired of it. You need to try something new to keep yourself interested in something refreshing. But I actually have the gentleman right here. His name is Rick Does Things. And I believe Rick, I think he lives in France?
He lives in Italy. I think
Italy.
He's Italian. Yeah.
Yes. I check up on him every once in a while when he does live stream on his YouTube channel, and the guy is just incredible.
Oh, he is.
Rick, yeah, I watched Rick too.
Yeah, I call him the MacGyver of Gunpla. He will actually take apart old, like recycled devices that have like LED lights, and he will take those and put it into his kits with its own like power supply, and also when he does like mega size kits, he doesn't like just the standard like pre-molded hands. He actually will get a 3D printer and just make one that has beautiful articulation, and I think just recently he won himself a trophy for one of the Gunpla competitions earlier this year. Yeah, he's literally my inspiration. You know, every time he does something, every time he puts something out, you know, I love what that guy does. And then other people, such as like photographers, and there's the guy doesn't have like a very popular username. His name is Dave. He teaches photography for students, and I always went to him for guidance on how to do proper lighting, what would be the best way to position kits, how wide the aperture should be when I'm taking pictures of the model kits, would be a good proper lighting setting. The guy was always super helpful to help me out with that, and I'm ever so grateful for that. That's awesome. The last person, I think his name is Butch Smith, and he does everything to cosplay, custom model kits like you would see on the Aliens films, like a couple of miniatures from Blade Runner, a handful of Star Wars and Star Trek kits. The guy's very open to trying new things. He's not really into doing Gundam, but his attention to detail when it comes to smaller kits is there, and I find it absolutely fantastic when he puts something new and refreshing. So, that's awesome.
Rick is definitely one of those people that I've also looked up to. I try to get him on the show, and I've actually talked to him, but he his English, he says his English isn't so well or so good, so he says he can't. But he's super nice though. He's super nice.
He is.
He is so nice. He is so cool. Anyway, for another question, just real quick before we jump into your story and everything, what has been your favorite kit to build up until now before customization? So before you even customize or paint, one right out of the box, which one's your favorite one?
My favorite one.
You can only choose one.
As of this year, or just as of all time?
Of all time.
Yeah. I would definitely say the 120 scale Valkyrie from Robotech, or Macross. That kit was massive. It was expensive as hell, but my goodness, it was such a treat to just do all the custom LED lighting, light weathering, airbrushing, you name it. I made sure I just really enjoyed every little aspect of it. And when it was said and done, my biggest problem was, where am I going to put this thing in my house? I have nowhere to put it. But when everything was done, I finally accomplished the goal that I wanted to do, and that was just making something that looks very, very authentic to what you would see from like popular manufacturers like Hot Toys or 3A or 3.0. I always love their attention to detail when it comes to their very small figurines, and they're also another point of inspiration too as well. I love their work. But yeah, that kit was definitely the most fun to build. I would say like a close second one would be the Perfect Grade Millennium Falcon.
Okay, I've heard very good things about that one. Yeah.
I want to do that.
It's it will break you. It will break you. But at the same time, I'm very grateful that I did build that kit, because it actually got me recognized on YouTube for doing something in a 3-parter series. I made some mistakes. I will admit to that. I did make some small mistakes when it came to painting it, but I wanted to make it as authentic as I can possibly can to what you would see on the feature-length film, minus the LEDs, because I wasn't really too versed on it. But the quality and the way how it looks, I wanted to make it as movie accurate as possible without actually shelling out like $900 to $10,000 on an actual like effects special edition collectible Millennium Falcon. I wanted one I can just keep in my office, like where you can see right here. Yeah, and I absolutely love that Perfect Grade. Absolutely love it. Yeah, it's beautiful. So, yeah. All
right, really cool, really cool. Well, that'll be it for the generic questions. We're actually going to jump in right into slide number 5. Yeah, to the builds and how you. So for you guys who don't know, James was kind enough to actually organize these himself. So he has his own way of doing things, and it's awesome. And right here on slide number 5, we're going to start off, which I believe is the Strike Gundam.
Yes. This is the Master Grade Strike Gundam. This was officially my very, very first custom LED build, because around that time I was looking around to see if anyone would share their secrets on how to put custom LEDs into lights. And unfortunately, there's a lot of dudes out there that just want to keep it to themselves. This is my thing. This is what makes me popular. I'm not sharing it to anyone. All right, cool. Nice chatting with you. Move on. So I remember swinging down to my old hobby shop down here. It was like a train model store before they were shutting down. And I remember asking the gentleman, they're like, these dioramas are absolutely exquisite. By any chance, what kind of LEDs do you use? And he's like, oh, there are these small little LEDs that range from small, medium to large. And there's a company by the name of Evans Designs. And I was like, Evans Designs, I've seen that around Amazon. Mind if I get like a link to where I can buy them? And they're like, yeah, sure. And he gave me a link to their website. And at that time, everyone that did use their products only used it for making model cars, maybe some collectibles you would see on model kits like the 2001 Space Odyssey, maybe some Star Wars kits here and there, but nothing Gundam. And I was like very shocked with that. So I'm like, okay, what I'm about to do is very risky. But I have not seen a builder out there that has actually tried to make the inner frame glow on how like you would see in the anime, because that's like one of the biggest cool gimmicks you would see in Gundam Build Fighters is the RG system powering up to give that boost for the mech. And the biggest challenge with this kit was one, cable management, and at the same time posability, because this dude would not be able to move a lot with all this electrical wire. So I remember telling myself, not only am I going to build this, but I'm going to make like an action base to it as well to really make it like how you would see in the anime. And then take as best pictures as I can with my old Samsung Galaxy Edge Plus phone, and then upload it onto Instagram, and I went to bed. And then within the next 8 hours when I wake up, this was like my very first post that got over like 1,000 likes. And I was like, oh, yes. I can finally do something to connect with people.
Yes.
I found my footing amongst my fellow peers. This is great. So that's where my journey really started. I tackled something that was very ambitious, but at the same time was very difficult, and I succeeded on it, and people loved it. My only complaint with this kit now is just the wire management. It's really bad. You can't see it in this photo, so I had it at an angle where you can't see it, but he has like this weird long tanuki like tail that's like extruding out. So loved it. It was great. It still works, and it's still in my other office where it's staying in a nice little closed off area so it doesn't get damaged.
Oh, cool.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
But how long was it? I mean, like, when was that? Like, how long was it ago?
I would say it was 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
I want to say it was 3 years ago. Yeah.
All right. Like
That's what started off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was always fascinated with Star Trek model kits. I was always fascinated how they did all these elaborate light systems. But I wanted to really focus on something new. I built a lot of Star Trek Starship models when I was a kid. I'm an adult now. I want to see what I can really push the envelope with Gunpla. Now, with this particular kit, it was very expensive because the actual inner frame is sold separate with a different master grade. So this is actually a completely separate master grade than the one I originally purchased. So I think the original master grade was like $50-$60, and then the one with the clear parts was like almost $200.
Wow.
Right.
Because it was out of print.
I was about to ask you about that. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's clearly from another kid that you kit bash.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Part of my only complaint with that kit, I don't like the I want to call them. There's like little silver flakes in the plastic to give it like that nice little refracting, glowing look.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Bugged me, but at the same time, I had a goal and I just wanted to keep going, and I finally did it.
I mean,
Loved
if it's
it.
on LED mode, it looks really good, right?
Yes.
So it's only when you close it off and when you keep it and when you look at it at the side without the LEDs on, then only you can see the flakes in it and stuff like that. But that's really normal in clear plastic parts, just to give it a little bit of texture, you know?
Yeah.
Right. So moving on to slide number 6, shall we? So this guy here, I mean, tell us more about this, because the color choice is awesome, and then I can see that you you elaborated the LEDs even more now, moving to the feet, up to the feet as well. I mean, is this literally a second build?
This was like the second and third. Well, let me think. I did build my second prototype was the USS Franklin. I didn't add it to the slides because I didn't have any good pictures. But this was the second introduction into doing custom LED lights, because the Virtualon series is really known to a small pocket of fans. And at the same time, finding any kind of model kits of this series is very difficult. So there was only a limited run for this particular model, which is called Timjin. And Timjin, I think they only made like a couple, like 10,000s of the kit, and then that was it. And they didn't make any more. So the only way you can find this kit is you went on eBay, which was like ranging between like $150 to $200. I got lucky, finding it for like under 100. And the biggest challenge with this kit is it does have clear pieces, but the clear pieces need to be backlit. And the good thing about these pieces is they're being put against a flat white surface. So with that nice hollowed out area, I can actually refract the light from that white surface to illuminate the clear piece forward. But then there's issues of light bleeding. So I have to be very careful not to completely disperse in where it makes the whole entire plastic illuminate. I have to keep it focused on one spot. So everything down to the feet, to the knees, to the thighs, all of that had to be planned out before I made any more mistakes, because I only had one shot to tackle this kit. And I had to make sure I took every bit of love and care into making this guy look good. So understanding like two different coloring methods, like as you can clearly see, there's two different tones. There's like a nice gloss tone, and then there's like a soft matte tone to it with a little bit of a semi-gloss to it. And then for the dark black pieces, there's a little bit of a flat tone to it. So I didn't want to make it like completely all plastically. I want to try to make it as accurate as you would see in the video game. So the biggest challenge with this kit was the torso and the visor for the head, because it has two different clear pieces. And in the video game, they kind of like are in a pulse, like animation when you see in the video game. I couldn't really pull that off with this one because there's like no room to hide like a circuit board to really call that effect. It would have to be like outside the model kit. So I eventually ventured on and tried other like LED lights that are like pulsing, like powering on and powering down for the other virtual model kit, which was called Raiden. And Raiden, I had a lot of fun building that one because I learned from that one. I implemented onto this one. But the problem is each LED bulb goes on their own sequence of powering on and powering off. So when you turn it on, off, off, on, off, off. It was out of sync. So I'm like,
God.
Okay. I did a great job of painting it, but I screwed something up completely. So what I learned from that, I made sure that if I want to do that correctly, maybe one more time, I would make sure I have like some kind of system that can control those lights at the same time instead of independently.
You need the logic board instead.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, Timjin, once again, another breakthrough of me trying something new, refreshing for my all-time favorite mech. I mean, I love Gundam, but this particular mech itself got me into the robot genre even more, and I would love to see more of it.
Buy another one? I mean, it's been years since then, right? So have you managed to buy another one?
There's another one called Feiyin that did come out from a new company. Originally was from a company called Wave, and another company bought the rights for Virtual, and they only have 3 right now. There are 3 other ones from Kotobukiya, but they're in such short supply, so you'd be lucky enough to find one that's like under $200.
Wow.
I mean, Kotobukiya kits are already notorious for being very expensive.
Right.
But the Virtualon series is a gem. I would highly recommend everyone to check it out. They're great kits. You can't get a lot of crazy posability, but they're great kits.
Yep.
Right.
So on slide number 7, we have the 1/100 R9A Arrowhead R-Type.
Yes.
So where is this? Where does this guy come from?
This is actually from an old side-scroller shoot 'em up game that came out for the PlayStation 1, and then eventually got ported to the PlayStation 2, or like R-Type, Zero, whatnot. It was a great little kit, because if there's one thing I made very apparent with my channel is I don't want to just do Gundam. I want to do Gundam, Kotobukiya, something different, something brand new, Gundam, something that's out of this world, something that hasn't been touched or hasn't been seen by any other channel, and at the same time do something that's nice and refreshing, because I always want to make the element between doing something that's Japanese anime, something that is tech related, something that is video game related, while at the same time something sci-fi. And I felt this kit was an excellent introduction to trying something different. My biggest complaint with this kit was the molding. The molding for this kit was terrible. So I imagine this was like pretty much designed for people that are like a big fan of the series. But you know, it is what it is. I still enjoyed it. It's one of those very rare kits that require glue. And and there's plenty of room to do custom installation on there. So there's just enough cavity space to do all kinds of cool things. And that's the one thing I really, really enjoyed. The downside also with this kit is the instruction manual is a joke when it comes to custom painting. So you have to do your research even more further to make it as accurate as possible. So this was like one of those rare kits where I was like, okay, I need to get comfortable doing painting with a brush. So I must have went through like 5 different brushes to try to do some nice fine tip painting. And then I came across a lantern brush. And since then, I've been using that particular one for doing like fine little details. Just absolutely love it.
It's amazing,
That's cool.
man.
And you mostly use acrylic paint, right?
Yes. Well, there's a reason for that. You know, I did work. You probably see like a progression in my videos from back then, even now. I use like a mix me between acrylic and then lacquer-based paint. Pretty much all heavily used with airbrush and one part with the aerosol can. Over time, I started to get like cluster headaches, and I couldn't quite figure out why. So I eventually went to a doctor, and he says, "Yeah, it appears you're a little sensitive to acrylic-based paint. So you have either 2 options. You either can try working with it, where it's like a heavily ventilated area, or you should stop working with it altogether because you will eventually end up having migraines for the rest of your life." So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll just venture and try something different, and try something with acrylic-based paint. So now I'm in the process of not just depending on Tamiya paint, but I'm trying other different brands out there to see if they work with the kits. And so far, I've actually got a lot of good results from different kind of brands. And I absolutely love it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's cool because I've seen in your videos you use Vallejo also.
Yes.
Those are really cool paints. Yeah, the acrylic.
Vallejo, they produce really, really good acrylic paint.
Yes,
Really,
it is.
one of the most superior quality of acrylic out there. Let's not forget about Gaia Notes. For those who are watching, you guys are into acrylic, just like James here. Then these are the 2 brands that you'll be looking into. Really, really great stuff. Tamiya is fine. Tamiya is good because it's really, really easy to find them. I would say
Yes.
very, very accessible and very reliable. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
With Vallejo, there's a little bit of a trick to it. So
Yes.
definitely got to be a little bit more experienced before you try out Vallejo and some other stuff. But
Yeah,
Tamiya is
'cause-
a very, very good entry point.
Yeah, the thinning ratio between how you make the paint work with the airbrush is definitely a challenge. Yeah, yeah,
Right,
that took me
right.
some time.
Yeah,
It took me
and
some
when
time.
you're moving on to hand painting the details, the ratio is different because it evaporates.
Mhm.
Because it evaporates a lot, right? When you're hand painting, especially when you have it on the palette.
Yes.
And when you're trying to hand paint, you just gotta keep on topping up like 1 milliliter, 2 milliliters
Yes.
of thinner all the time. Stop mixing it up again and again. Right. So there's a lot of learning curves.
Yes, there is.
Especially when it comes to hand painting, because there's so many outside elements that could affect
Mhm.
the texture of the paint itself.
Yes.
So moving on with this, I'm really intrigued with this. Like really, I mean, just to look.
Who's not to
Just
be
the look of
intrigued?
it,
This is
slide
awesome.
number 8. Right, I like bottoms.
Oh.
So, I mean, like, okay, I want to ask you, like, how much do you spend on an average on LEDs for each kit? For example, right here, just at the back of it, I need like 5, right? So, how much does 5 LEDs cost? Because I have no experience at all with LEDs, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the guys who are watching this, they want to do LEDs, but what to do, how to get the stuff, and what are the tools that you need to make LEDs work. Right?
Sure. So for a kit like this with the Vegeta Saiyan Space Pod, I think I spent close to $50 on this. And the LEDs, from what I remember, range between mega LEDs, which I'm remembering there are 4 mega LEDs in the main cockpit area with the 2 control panels on the side and the one in the back to illuminate his shoulders. I really wanted to pull off that effect because you don't really see what it looks like inside the Saiyan Pod cockpit. As for the control panel, I believe it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 Pico and 8 Pico LED lights. So like a cluster between those, I think that would average between like $15 to $10. And that's not counting shipping either, you know. So on an average, a week for buying LED lights for a project like this, it's like around $70 to maybe $60.
Holy, so it's another kit. It's the price of another massacre.
Yeah, literally another kit. So what
Absolutely.
about the tools? Like you need soldering, obviously.
The
You
wonderful
need,
thing about the Evans Designs lights is they have it in a voltage setting. So I like working with 3 volts because a lot of the lights don't require a lot of power. So that means I don't have to fuss around and mess with the capacitors. But there are some at times that do have their own capacitors installed on them. So with that, it doesn't become a problem. It just basically becomes a problem where you place them on the kit.
Okay.
So. So when it comes to placing these LEDs on these kits, it is not advisable to use super glue. Super glue is a big no-no. The reason for that is because super glue conducts heat, and if it conducts heat, it will burn out the LED to the point where it won't function. And I've been told by Evans Designs himself. I think the guy's name's Rick. And I remember asking like, what would be a good substitute just to lock the LEDs in place without damaging them, while at the same time keeping them into a spot where they wouldn't do any harm to themselves or to the model kit. And that's when I came across Bob Smith's super thick glue. And the beautiful thing about Bob Smith's super thick glue is it's not like regular glue where you just dab it on there, it dries, and you get that nasty little white speck section onto the kit. And then at the same time, if you fidget around too much, it'll eventually break off, and then you're back to square one. So that's the exact same problems I had when I was building the USS Franklin 3 years ago. So when I picked up the thick glue, I'm like, okay, this looks great. It dries a little bit faster, but I need to accelerate the drying process just a little bit more. And that's when you add Bob Smith's accelerant to it. So not only that it'll lock it into place, but it'll secure in a way where it won't move at all. Now, if let's say you accidentally put it onto the LED, you're totally fine, because the chemical properties that you would see compared to super glue and regular like Elmer's glue or hot glue are totally different. One actually does contain heat, but at the same time it dissipates it, whereas regular glue will actually retain it and damage the LED. So I had to make sure I did a lot of trial and errors between working between 1 and 2.
Right.
So I mean, I'm very fortunate I haven't had one that burned out, but I always keep that in the back of my head, like, I only got one shot. I can't order more LEDs, and I got to make sure these guys count. But I've had times where I've actually glued the LEDs in place where they work, but I tug them on just the wrong way and they end up breaking. Oh, shit. So, that's like, yes.
How many LEDs would you say you've broken over the time? Like, is it something that used to happen a lot more when you began?
No, quite the opposite. It's very rare.
Oh, okay.
It's very with the Timjin model kit. I only I lost one LED for the R type. I think I lost one there, and it was one of the thrusters. The good thing about what Evans Designs, if there was something wrong with the LEDs, they'd be like, "Don't worry, give us your mailing address. Send the one that's damaged. We'll send you one immediately shortly afterwards." So we have like this beautiful partnership of helping one another out. Like, for example, they don't for information and clear sakes, Evans Design doesn't hire me. They don't give me free LEDs. They don't fluff up my channel by promoting my channel or promoting my Instagram account. I literally do this for the sake of just helping out those small businesses. Much like how I'm helping out New Type, I do the exact same with Evans. These guys are incredible. So if I ever get the opportunity to actually give them a proper shout out on my videos or on Instagram, that helps them out tremendously. I kid you not, when I did the new Gundam a couple months back, they had a surge of people that wanted to build that kit. When I did the SD cross silhouette Gundam SD kit a couple months back for the airbrush tutorial,
Freedom.
Yes. People just flocked over to the website and they're like, okay, I didn't know it was that hard, but it's actually easy. Okay, I'm gonna start trying those out left and right. So I will say that there was one time where Evans did give me some free LED lights for further projects, but other than that, that's it. I'm more than happy to help out small businesses when it comes to selling their products. I'm not looking to get anything out of it. That's just in my nature of me. I just like helping people out.
Yeah, you're a very humble
big
guy,
and small.
man.
That's awesome.
You're a very humble guy, yeah.
Cool.
It's really cool. That's very considerate and very honorable, right? And because honestly, I've never heard of this company until I started watching you, right?
True. Me too.
So,
I didn't know about Evan Design until I watched Otakubuilder.
Yep. And even like everybody wants to elevate their building to the next level, right? So there's always this constant search of people building, and I'm also guilty of this, right? When I sit down and whenever I want to build, I'm like, what can I do that is different, right? What can I do for this, right? And you really just take this to the next level, right? And the reason I'm saying this is because your conversation right now about the different types of glue, if they're chemically based, they're different than other ones, and they work because of this. And you actually took the time to elevate, and you use these tools to make your work turn out the way it does, right? So that's why whenever LEDs come to mind, I think of, oh, Otakubuilder. I have to go watch this, right? Even my hero, it's a Gunpla, has mentioned you in his videos. He's like, oh, I'm over there watching Otakubuilder, and he's talking about these LED lights. It's awesome, right? So you're really doing a fine job, dude. You're a very humble guy. But I just want to say that I love Vegeta. All right.
Oh, who
And
doesn't?
And this is a beautiful piece. So
Thank you.
So
honestly,
okay,
how did you go
one
about
question.
making this? Was this a commission?
No, the funny thing, I'm in a process now where I'm tackling old kits that I did like 3 years ago, and then give them that nice otaku flair. So I
Ooh.
did do a Saiyan space pod, lightly weathered for an old friend of mine that's like also a photographer, and I said, "Bro, I don't want to sound like too weird, but I want to give you a proper collectible you can put on your front desk when you're working. Can I just send you another Vegeta model kit?" And he was like, "No, man, I'm good. I love the one you got." I was like, dude, just hear me out. I got a great idea. Just hear me out. I love Vegeta. I don't like Goku. Just putting that out there. I love Vegeta, and I want to give him the utmost respect that this man deserves. Okay.
Yeah, the Saiyan Prince.
This man works hard, and I want to give him the proper love and feel that he deserves. So I looked everything to like not Gundam, but Dragon Ball collectibles, like figurines, toys. Paid attention to how they did their shading, how they did their painting, and it actually was really easy. You just put dark over light and then over lighter, but at the same time keep it consistent where one color doesn't overpower the other one. So I wanted to keep that while at the same time add some nice little streak anime lines like you would see under the cheeks, as well as around the collarbone of the Saiyan armor. I just want to keep it consistent. And at the same time, instead of just putting it with a generic action base, Bandai actually made like an effects part that you would get for these Dragon Ball figurines. So I said, you know what? I'll keep the action base, but I'll put that one effect part behind it and make it look like Vegeta's finally just landed on Earth. And it came out beautiful. I didn't imagine it would come out the way I wanted, but it literally looks like something you would buy.
That's the effects part with the rocks coming out. Right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely loved it.
That's awesome, dude. This is wicked.
Really wicked.
So,
seriously.
I got questions
Like,
about
how do
this
you
thing. Oh.
go about to control the strength of the LEDs? Because I remember we had Paul on the show during season 1, and he talked about like overpowered LEDs where it just bleeds all over, right? It bleeds through the head, it bleeds through the armor and all that. How do you control the strength of the LEDs? Right. You mentioned you're using 3 volts. Is that the key, or
low voltage is always a good introduction to it. But even 3 volts can be very bright. Like if you look at Vegeta's shoulders, those are mega LED lights. They're very bright. So the more lights you add on top of one another, which I think I use close to like maybe 15 or 20 on this. The lights are going to slightly dim, just with only 2 AA batteries. Right. But let's say you want to put in an actual like 3 volt, wall jack. It's actually going to boot the brightness a little bit more higher because there's more current going to it. Fortunately enough, the actual adapter has like a little circuit board that can actually take that high voltage and still make it converted into 3 volts. So in a way it works. But let's say if it's just too bright and you don't want these control panels like you would see on the space pod to be very bright. Like in the very second picture, you look at the control panel in the very front, it's one central light in the middle. And when I put an LED there, it's just like really overexposed and it just really catches your attention to the point where it just distracts you. So what I end up doing was just grabbing some good old fashioned like tracing paper and just place it underneath the control panel to diffuse it just enough to the point where the light isn't distracting, but at the same time enough to where it lights up the control console to where it looks clean. At the same time, like not overblown. So that was like the biggest challenge. At the same time, I think this was around the time where I started to learn how to do diffusion with paper before I started to use Tamiya flat coat or flat base for my other projects.
Because I mean, a lot of the challenges at times is that people are so scared of adding resistors, step down transformers, something like that to the logic board or to a circuit board. I've seen people experimenting with breadboards and all that, just trying to step down the brightness and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So one trick that just to summarize what you said was it's either you underpower it, correct? You
Mm-hmm.
underpower it, you supply it with not enough current so that
Mhm.
it's dimmer, or you could diffuse the light using paper. Everybody learned something today.
Yeah.
Right? So now I know I could diffuse the light
Mhm.
using paper, or like what you said, flat coat.
Yeah, you can use a flat coat or a flat base onto a clear piece of plastic, but you got to be very careful because let's say you apply a flat coat onto a white LED light. It's going to diffuse it correctly, but you're going to get this weird yellow hue to it. And I
Right.
don't like that. I was testing it out on my my current project, which is the 1/1000 scale USS Enterprise from Star Trek Discovery. The LEDs on the nacelles are perfect. They're bright. They catch your attention. They look just like how they look on the TV show, but they're just a tad too bright. Maybe I just diffuse it just enough, and then I put a flat base coat on there, and it looked good after a couple of hours, but then it looked like yellow, kind of like how you see Vegeta's interior part
Is
of
it
the suit
yellow
base.
because it's burned?
No, it's yellow because it's the pigment of the
Oh,
base. I
Right,
don't know
right,
why it
right.
does it. I tried it with other colors. Like if you put it over like a red LED, it makes it more pinkish.
Okay.
You put it over blue, it's like a softer blue, but it's still diffused in
Right,
a way where it works.
right.
So you just
Yeah.
got to find a way to work around it.
Right. This could be a
Okay.
technique that you found unintentionally, right?
Yeah.
If you want something pinker, want something bluer, or anything like that, you could probably use this technique to like temper with the light a little bit to
Yeah.
produce different light of shades, different shades
Yeah,
of
dude.
light.
Yeah,
Right.
color theory plays a very important role with that. You know, if like for example, if you're doing the like I did just a couple weeks ago, the SD cross silhouette Unicorn Gundam, the cycle frame
Yep.
itself is like a pink. So what do you naturally think would be a good light to put behind that? White LEDs, right? You'd be surprised that working with blue LEDs actually not only diffuses it correctly, but actually disperses on all the like little nooks and cranny of the clear pieces correctly. And if you want to give it more clever, why not use a purple LED light?
Wow.
Works the exact same way. So instead of just overblowing it, you know, you're actually keeping it consistent to the overall color of
Yeah.
what you would see.
That's pretty cool, man.
Seriously. Why buy MGEX? Why?
Don't get me started
Why?
on that.
Why?
Ooh,
Just
don't-
watch Otakubuilder use purple LED lights. If not, paint your LEDs purple, and you will get similar or cheaper and definitely more affordable effect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
Crazy stuff. MGEX. Crazy.
I'd
I could buy a
rather
car
pay
in that.
the $70 for the LEDs that you're talking about and pay
Exactly.
the
And I could have some
$350
leftovers,
Canadian
you know?
over here.
And you could have some leftovers of LEDs if you didn't happen to like use them all out.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you could learn something from doing with your hands instead of like buying what's on the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that
Yeah,
is
man.
very true.
Definitely a really, really interesting topic to talk about next time. MGX, ladies and gentlemen. So moving on to
Yeah, I think we're gonna
Yeah.
leave the questions towards the end,
Yes.
and we're gonna go through some through more of these
slides.
pictures because
Right.
you know, he was kind enough to like put in like so many pictures, which is not bad. It's not bad at all.
Okay, we'll just
But,
do like
in
a,
order
a
to get-
speed run
I
through
wanna like seriously, personally, I wanna look at slide 13.
13.
13.
Eh,
Ooh.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
the boy I've been waiting for.
Yes.
Right?
Very expensive
So-
kit. Very
Okay,
expensive kit.
First of all, I want to ask because that doesn't look like it's from Bandai. That's one
No, I believe it's from Max Factory, if I remember correctly.
thing, right? It's an indie figurine maker or something like that because I've never heard of that.
Yeah, they just started getting to making model kits around the time when Pacific Rim 1 came out. And when that film did well, I think the only Gypsy Danger came out like a year later, but I think they focused on the Russian Jaeger mech.
Oh, okay. The
You know.
first prototype, the
Yes.
first,
Yeah.
the first
Mhm.
first Jaeger.
Yes.
Right.
So this one came shortly afterwards, and then they stopped mass producing Pacific Rim kits shortly afterwards because the second film tanked, and there wasn't much of an interest to make any more since people weren't interested in the franchise. So
But
That's
I
really
love the
unfortunate.
second one. I do like the second one. I
yeah,
just
second
don't
one's
like the-
good.
I don't like the main character in it. I mean, come
Yeah.
on, man. Stop
Yeah.
being daddy's boy.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get too like
Mm-hmm.
into, but I think my biggest complaint is like I love the analog part of the cockpit. None of this connect
Yes.
Xbox
Right.
movements with the holographic composite. No, like you move,
Yeah.
you got something like gives you weight and feel. You know, it's very
Right.
tangible. It's kind of like
Right.
playing a fighting game with an arcade stick. You know, you can
Right,
play with the
right,
controller, but
right.
there's something that's a little bit more
With
familiar.
with the stick and the buttons,
Yes,
right?
that's
There's
what I
something
love
to
about
it,
the first film. Yeah, yeah,
right?
Dude.
love this
But
machine.
seriously,
It reminded me.
the second movie, the fight scenes are elevated, I would say.
Hmm.
The fight scenes are elevated, the graphics are elevated as well, and the design of the Obsidian Fury is like wow. I
Hmm.
love that boy, man. Seriously, I love that guy. Even
What do
though
you
it was evil, but yeah,
what do you
I
think
love
of this? What do you think of this kit, Derek? Because you haven't said anything
Oh
on
no,
it, and I know
I'm,
you're just. I don't
no,
want you to
everyone's
think, you know,
talking.
like.
It's awesome, actually. I love this
No,
kid.
you gotta stop being an audience, bro. You gotta
Oh,
be.
come on. I'm enjoying the show
You
right
gotta be
now to
in.
be here. Do you know what's really funny? When I first watched the first Pacific Rim, do you know what I kept on thinking? No, it's not G Fighters. It's not G Fighters. It's not G Fighters.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness, you hit the nail in the coffin. Yes.
But
Oh,
man, I was wondering, it's like basically looking at the images of this before, like a couple of days ago, I got these posted from from Jess. I was looking, I say, holy shoot, you actually managed to actually squeeze the LEDs onto that shoulder because there's not much plastic room in there. Oh,
it was hard. It was super hard. I must have
shoulder
watched the movie.
flap, dude. I was about
Yes.
to ask you that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, yeah. I had just barely enough room to use like a very small Dremel, just to funnel in maybe like one or two LEDs, and then behind the head there's also small little LEDs that have like different color schemes. So
Right.
I didn't use. Yes, and I had to use like Tamiya flat green and then flat red, not to make them too bold, but just enough where they're saturated, where they look good, like how you would see in the film. I must have watched this film like maybe 13 times, freezing frame by frame to make it as accurate as possible. Because, you know, one part I'm thinking to myself, okay, I got the head, chest area, I got the torso area looking good. Oh crap, there in between like the rib section, there's two LEDs. Okay, I gotta drill another hole in there. Oh, there was actually small little LEDs above the reactor. I gotta drill more small little holes in there too.
Right,
Oh
right.
crap, there's an LED in the head. How am I gonna fit that in there? I don't know. I'll make it work. And
Right.
this was like one of those rare kits where it was just like a passion project. And I remember putting it off for so many years. Like, I want to buy myself a collectible Gypsy Danger figurine. I know there's a lot of them out there. I can't afford like a statue. I mean, my office is already small enough as it is now with the arcade cabinet taking up most of the space. But
Yeah.
when I originally saw these kits, I was very hesitant not to want to build them because my painting skills wasn't up to that level yet. And
But
even
it looked great. What the hell are you talking about,
Oh,
bro?
shoot.
no. Like the early model kits, like I had no idea how to paint them. You know, my weathering skills was just like ugh. It was meh. And I had to like literally do a lot of research on what's like the good kind of weatherings to use. Mr. Softener. Do I use Vallejo? Do I just thin out Tamiya paint and with a water base? You know, I gotta find something that works because the film, and when you watch it in Blu-ray, there's great surface detail that you can really get a lot of information with. So I had to make sure I paid very close attention to that while at the same time trying to apply it onto this model kit. And it was just fun. One thing I was very grateful about this kit is the torso area was hollow enough where I can actually hide all the electrical wiring. That was a blessing in disguise, because like the cavity space is just big enough to put in one LED, and this kit made it possible to just hide all that. That's like the biggest challenge when it comes to doing these kits. How am I going to hide all these wires while at the same time make it possible where I can still pose it? That is always a
okay.
reoccurring challenge with these kits. So without a doubt, had a blast making this guy. Loved it.
You know,
One question.
wanna say
because the
something
things
real
that
quick.
I've never seen. Like, I just have this quick question: that
Mhm.
how big is this thing?
I would say it's close to a 1/100 scale.
Ooh.
Oh, it's like an MG.
Yeah,
right?
it's
Yes,
Typically
slightly taller.
17, 18 centimeters.
Yeah,
Probably there.
slightly taller. Yeah,
Dude,
yeah, because Gypsy Danger is like not proportion. His legs are
Right.
slightly longer, and I kind of like that design aesthetic. So yeah, it's close to a 1/100
Very,
scale.
very good.
very nice.
Thank you.
One thing I really wanted to say, and this is something that Derek and I were talking about the other day, is your attention to detail. You know, I really am. I don't know how to say this without making it sound weird. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful that you take the time to make your pieces come out so accurate to to the source material, right? The fact that you would even go and watch this movie 13, 14 times, it's a great movie, but still frame, right? Go into Blu-ray, look at all these details. And you've been mentioning this over and over and over again. Every time we jump into a new picture, you're like, well, I wanted to make it authentic. I wanted to make it, look real. I wanted for it, to pay tribute and honor to the original source. I love that.
You're right. I like the fact that you used the word. I want to make it collectible.
Yeah.
It's like you're literally working with Hot Toys right now. Like I want to make it.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, I guess the one person that can attest to this is my mother. She was always open to giving me ideas of open like shows to watch. I would watch like B movies like Robot Jocks, Robot Wars, the Guyver live action. But the one show that she would always put in front of me, don't know why, she would always just let me watch Star Trek. And I remember just sitting there like frame by frame with the old VHS remote, wearing down the VCR player, just hitting pause over and over again. It's just like marvel at so much love and character went into just making these model kits look amazing looking. Like the Aztec details, what kind of LEDs they were using, like how big, how small what these miniatures were. And I just remember telling myself as a kid, I want to do something like that. I just want to do something close to that. And if I can just do one model kit like that, I'll be happy. Now I'm doing it all the time. So, and in a funny way, it works out.
Yeah.
Right. It did. It certainly did. Come on. It certainly did.
So I want to jump into slide number 10 so we don't skip it.
Yes.
This is from Metal Gear Solid, right?
Yes, this is Metal Gear Rex from Guns of the Patriots. So this is the Metal Gear Rex shortly after it was abandoned on Shadow Moses. Hopefully, I know I got that right. I know there's some Metal Gear fans out there. They'll get on me about that.
I know nothing about Metal Gear.
I know one of my friends, Paul, actually
I don't
built
game
it.
at all, so that's the thing.
So wait, what was that, Derek?
One of our lovely friends, Paul, he actually built a Metal Gear Rex. And I think that's amazing. Right. Oh man.
These the reason I wanted to jump into this picture, James, is because the Metal Gear Rex is one of my favorite mech designs ever. Like this. This to me reminds me, even though it is Japanese, right? Because Metal Gear Solid, right? It does remind me more of a westernized take on, robots and mechs.
It does. It's
compared
like
to like
Avatar,
Gundam.
Where the lakes are like that.
Yes.
The whole Velociraptor legs and how it goes like this and angles down. It's a beautiful work of art, and you didn't put a lot of LEDs into this one. You only put like I see like you put 2 small ones up in the top part, right?
Yeah, 3 in the cockpit area, and then 2 on each side on the side of the heads. That's pretty much it. There isn't anything crazy with this particular mech, besides its very elaborate camo design. It's very it's not organic like how the one I'm working on right now, which is the Metal Gear Philanthropist. That's another thing to talk about another time. But this one here, it's more structured. It's not organic, and that was like probably the one thing I was really excited to work on this kit because I'd never done anything with a camouflage texture at all. I've gotten good at weathering. I've gotten good at putting LED lights, but now I need to take the next level of trying something new. So camo was like the biggest challenge for this particular build, while at the same time retain that nice old and decayed, rusted look of Metal Gear Rex when it was abandoned. Again, this was like one of those scenarios where like I gotta go onto YouTube and find like a high res image and watch this video over and over again so I don't miss anything. I missed something. That part's supposed to be bigger. That's supposed to be smaller. Okay, I'm done, and move on to the next one. This kit had a lot of parts in it. I was really scared with this one because this is another one of those kits where I wanted to build it again. So this would be my second attempt building another Rex. The one I built was from the original Metal Gear, but it was all like a nice stealth jet black. But this one I felt had more personality to it, and I really wanted to really emphasize those areas where it's like damaged and broken, and expose armament pieces where you can see like the pistons and the rusted gears and whatnot. And I mean, this was like another passion project, like how when I build Gypsy Danger. Now I wanted to put the exact same loving care into this one.
One thing we haven't mentioned, and I think we see a recurring theme, is your ability as a photographer, right? Because I think one thing I want the audience to know is that his LED shouldn't overshadow the fact that he's a great painter, but he's also a great photographer. I mean, your photographs, especially when we're talking about the Jaeger, it looks bigger than what you say it is.
Yes.
It looks like a perfect grade scale, right? And Justin is able to do this too with his pictures. And it's just that eye of a photographer that both of you guys have, that you guys really do bring this kind of respect to your model kits and life, right? So very, very beautiful photography. Like even for slide 11, where we have one of my favorite kits, one of my favorite builds ever is the pod. Right, the pod ball is one of my favorite kits because it's so refreshing from all of these Gundams. Right, it's very refreshing to build something different. It's such a simple and beautiful build. But even in the photography, I mean, it looks beautiful. How many lights did you use for this kit?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 LEDs for this one. No, wait.
Where do you
10,
see?
11,
Where do you
12.
see all of them? Because I count 5, right? I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There's 2 clear pieces on the side, on the left and right of the model kit. Then you have the 3 headlights in the front, and then I don't have the cannons in the view. I apologize for that. There's also 2 clear pieces up for the cannons, and then you have the thrusters in the back, and then at the very bottom. This was also another test kit to learn how to put very small pico LEDs into thrusters. I didn't want to use the bulbs like I did with the R-type kit because they're on that weird peg system where if you damage it too much, it has nothing to grab onto it. So if you do too much drilling, you're going to have to like finagle in a way where you got to do some manually gluing. And over time, if it's not glued correctly, you might just break it and then you're back to square one. So same kind of method, but at the same time, much more smaller drilling into areas where I can actually work with a smaller LED, but it gets the exact same brightness you would get from a 3mm bulb.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful piece though. And then going on to slide 15, we have this one. I don't know where this one is from. Is this from Macross?
Yes, it is.
Yes. I love this.
What do you think of this build, Derek? Because I know you like Macross, right?
Oh, I love it. You almost made the Super Valkyrie. I see the armaments on the arms. You're missing the where's the pack?
Another photo. I didn't get the chance to put in there. I was like, I already got like 80 photos in here. I think I'm overdue.
Oh, that's fair.
Now.
But no,
No, you're not. You're not.
Is this the 120 scale you were talking about?
This is the 120 scale. This guy was a beast.
I have so many friends. They like want to get it. You have to tell me. You said it was a project on that guy.
It was, and it was definitely worth every penny. It was fun. Yeah, I would put this up there to like the equality you would see like in Star Trek model kits, like this big, that much room to work with, open cavity space to put custom LED lights. And I really wanted to emphasize on that area, while at the same time complement the colors between orange and blues and reds. I didn't want everything to be like overpowering one color. So, I saw a handful of builders that just like put bright yellows and bright blues and reds. And at the same time, I wanted to just work what I had because I wasn't. That's one thing I have to really address. I always am on a budget when it comes to working on every model kit. So I always keep it like around $80 to $60 of purchasing LED lights. This kit unfortunately broke the bank, surpassing well past $100 for LED lights. But fortunate enough for me, there was someone that saw my work. They really liked it, and he ended up buying it. And for that, it actually helped go into buying more audio equipment, which I'm very, very grateful for that because I had no plans of selling it. But this gentleman is like a big hardcore collectible, and he loves Macross, and he's already hit me up because he's like, hey, I hear that there's another Macross kit coming out in a couple of years. Someone that's already fully,
so I'm guessing
fully transformed.
Battleroid,
gonna
right?
build it, right?
Yeah.
I was like.
So he's like, I hope your schedule is clear because I'm gonna have to ask you to build that one.
I was just about to ask you, are you going to get the Battleroid?
Yes.
I was gonna say
yes. Eventually, once this whole COVID thing kind of irons out, then without a doubt, yes.
Oh man,
without a doubt.
I'm gonna be first one on there to look at that for when you decide to stream that one. I am gonna be first one in line for that one. That's amazing. And then that it looks amazing. A lot of the details, the lighting I see there, you put a lot of attention. And I did. If you haven't seen it, anyone, if you go to his Instagram page, the cockpit, you have to see this. This thing's amazing how detailed you managed to put into it, and it's so accurate too. Like I was looking at the cockpit and the details. That's amazing. So
I think the cockpit took like 2 days to fully light up and paint. Because
so this was a passion project.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Another one.
How did honestly
every project is a passion project.
Exactly.
What are you talking
Exactly.
about?
Yeah.
There was never a non-passion project. Right?
how did it feel like letting it go? I mean, I know you got obviously paid for it, right? He bought it, but how did it feel? You know, did you feel like, wow, somebody's really gonna enjoy this as much as I did, hence why they want to buy it? How did that feeling come across for you?
I felt very humble about it. I finally felt that there's actually a community that really does appreciate the hard work I put into these kits. And I've been from one community over another, whether it's something from the furry community or from another modeling community. I'm going to get into the whole modeling community when it comes to Star Wars and Star Trek stuff. It's a little toxic on some parts of that, but the Gundam community was just open arms. You know,
always.
You know,
Yeah.
they're very open. They're like, hey, this looks good, but you can add a little bit of something there. That looks great. Why not use this color? That looks even better. Why not this? I mean, it is nitpicking, but at the same time, I'm okay with criticism with that kind of level because I was trained to deal with that when I was in college. Because if you didn't know how to deal with that, then you're going to leave. You know, you got to have a little bit of a tough skin.
If you are a graphic designer, you're pretty much immune to this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
You're pretty much immune.
Well, there's always that one YouTube comment that crushes you, so you gotta be careful with that.
I totally get that. It's like there's 1,000 like awesome, bro. You know what? Awesome, great stuff, and then that one comment kicks
Yes.
you off.
Yes.
You'll be screenshotting it. You'll be sending it to Jess.
Oh, don't even need the streams. It's stuck in your cerebellum. You're done. You are done.
We've seen some comments like that on Justin. Now, we're gonna go on to slide 16 because I know for Justin and I, the Barbatos is one of our favorites when it comes to the MG. I know Derek, you like the Barbatos, but I'm not sure if it's like one of your favorites because I know you like guns. And this is so for people who don't know in the audience, Derek is a gun lover when it comes to Gundams. The more guns the Gundam has, the better the kit is.
Yeah.
So since a Barbatos is a close quarters, right? Combat, what's called suit. That's why he doesn't like it as much. But for Justin and I think the Barbatos really brought us together. The Barbatos was literally one of the things.
I recently built a lot of the high grades, the IBO series, to be honest, and I love them as well because just how simple that is.
Yes,
they're so simple that the frames are interchangeable. Literally, because they are typically, they are essentially the same frame, right? It's just different armors and different features and stuff like that. But basically, as long as IBO, I'm pretty sure me and Jess, we love it. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what kit is it, or if it's from IBO, we love it because we love the series.
And
seriously, love the series.
One thing I want to touch upon, sorry James, I'll let you talk, but thing that I really want to point out, and like another thing that Derek and I were talking about, is your videos are top quality. And one of my favorite things of your videos, James, is how you begin showing us what is inside the box, right? What we can expect. But one of the best things about you is your honesty towards the end, where you always tell us what you don't like, what you like, right? For example, on this one, you were talking about the joints. Right, there are certain joints that you don't really like, and you're like, this could be a little iffy, but I really love that. Now, for me personally, the Barbatos is my favorite mobile suit of all time. Even though people think it's a Sasabi, it's the Barbatos. Where would you put this one? Because I remember when you first put out these pictures, everybody loved them because the Barbatos is so popular.
Yes.
Where would you put the Barbatos in your favorites list?
It's number 2
for Gundam only.
Without a doubt, it's a number 2. Because when Iron Blood Orphans came out, I didn't have any good streaming service to watch it, so I had to literally wait 2 years until it got released on to Funimation, and then eventually went to Netflix. Netflix had season 1. They didn't get season 2 until 2 years afterwards. But when they confirmed that they were going to do a proper master grade of Barbatos, I was like, I gotta build this kit. It looks so damn good. I mean, I don't even care much about the clear bits. I just love the overall aesthetic of it. And at the same time, I got a little bit of a soft spot for melee mechs. You know, it's the reason why I love like Jehudi from Zone the Enders. You know, you got speed, but at the same time, you got that nice veracity of a close quarters combat. And the Barbatos kind of like has like all those wrapped in a nice little package. And I remember when I worked on this kit, there was two things that came to mind. What would be the proper LEDs for the eyes, while at the same time, what LEDs can I use to light up the shoulders and like the abdomen area, because they're like a soft pink. So on some promotional pictures, some they show them like it's like a bright red, others like a bright dark pink purple.
Like
So
thingy, right?
So I told myself, you know, why don't I just go all out? Why don't I like really expose those areas while at the same time give it a little bit more personality? So instead of popping in like a white LED light, a blue LED light not only works just fine, but it keeps the light and dark ratio just right enough where nothing doesn't overpower one another. And then when it came to putting LEDs for the eyes, you already get a clear green piece. Great.
Right.
Half of the work's done. But if I put a green LED in there, it's going to look weird. If I put a white one in there, it's going to be very saturated. Why don't I just find something that's like in the middle, in which it doesn't make it overblown, but it's very Gundam accurate. If you pay close attention to the Gundam's eyes, they are green, but there's a little bit of a hue blue to them. It's very subtle. And I really wanted to infuse that. So a little bit's there. You can't quite see on the photos, but if you look at it in person, then it really pulls off that effect. And that was like the one thing I really wanted to encapsulate on it, to make it look menacing while at the same time make it look like really cool.
Oh, you pulled it off, that's for sure. I'm looking at these images. It's like, holy shoot, he looks deadly.
It was great because a lot of people bought this kit after they saw this video. And I think it came out like around the end of 2019.
Came in December of 2019. That's when it came out. Yep.
Yeah. So people were like, "Holy, I could do that with the Barbatos?
Moly.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna DM him until I annoy him." And that's what ended up happening. What did you use for this? How did you do that? How did you make that nice little soft sand like texture to it? Is it hard to put LEDs in this? What tools I need? It just questions were just coming left and right and right and left. I'm like, cool. I'm glad I'm not the only one that likes this mech. This obviously has really grabbed the attention to a lot of other builders out there, and everyone hits me up on Twitter and Instagram like, look, I followed your video, I followed step by step, and then I just rolled with it, and this is what I got. Take a look at my pictures. What do you think? And I'm like, you freaking nailed it. Hot
Awesome.
Damn, good job.
That's awesome.
You know,
That's
and I
awesome.
always ask them, did you enjoy it? Did you find it stressful? Were there areas that you had a little bit of a problem? And they're like, oh, no, without a doubt, this was one project that I didn't want to rush and then just upload it on Instagram. I wanted to make sure that I did it right so that way everyone else can see my hard work. I'm like, that's what I like to hear.
Yep.
Yes.
You know,
Right. That's the
Barbatos
thing.
is a beautiful kit. It's a beautiful kit.
But the
It deserves
C
all the
joint,
respect.
bro. I gotta say it, man. The C joint. Damn, I broke both of mine. Seriously, the left and then the right.
yeah,
And
they're
the legs,
fragile.
The C joints on the legs as well. Dude,
Mhm.
come on.
Yeah.
I mean, like the high grades is just as fragile. I would say
Yes.
the high grades are just like that. The MGs are the worst. MGs are worse, right? Because I mean, at first it looks rigid, it looks strong until you click on it.
Yes.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. You know what? I wish somebody would just told me like to like hold another finger at the bottom of it before I click into it, right? So
Oh,
I'm giving that advice again when I'm building it, because to be honest, I bought another 3 Barbatos.
what?
Oh
Oh,
my.
jeez.
MG, yeah, it's in Malaysia right now, waiting for me to go back. Going to do quite a lot of kit bash because
Okay,
I'm
cool.
trying to realize whatever that is missing from the Bandai. Like all the
Yes.
forms, they just came out in the no grade series, right? The NG series.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
gonna make them all into master grade instead,
Mm-hmm.
using the frame that they came with these Barbatos.
Yeah.
So
I will say,
gonna have a lot of fun.
yeah, I will say this, and there's already clues here that they're planning on making a perfect grade.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There's small little
If you
hits with this
just-
frame.
if you just look at how they design the frame itself and how
Mhm.
many moving parts in the frame itself, you will know that they are trying to blow this up. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be cool with a perfect grade ball, but you know, we'll get what we can and whatever happens.
I just don't want another unicorn. All right, it has been rolling. It's just been a thing ongoing on the show since episode
Yes.
1. No more unicorns. I'm so tired of the unicorn Bandai.
Yeah.
Hey,
I 100%
the
agree.
NGEX came out to be a
Yeah.
unicorn as
Oh
well.
my God.
No,
Derek-
no more.
Derek knows
more.
how much I took a dump on that announcement of how much I hate the MGX announcement. I love Bandai. You know, like I'm glad that they're doing different things, but why the
Mhm.
unicorn?
Yeah,
Mm.
I
Why-
remember getting
why
a-
are they-
Most importantly, why the price tag? What the fuck?
Well,
Yeah.
Right, I'm not supposed to say that, but
I know.
why? Why unicorn? Why the price? Does EX really stands for expensive?
Yeah, it's weird. I remember getting a comment from a YouTuber asking me what was my opinion on the EX kit, and I gave him my honest answer. I was like, it's okay. You know, it's not really my take, but for those who want to put in custom lights, something that's a little bit more safer and something that's a little more fun, this is, you know, right up your alley. But for me, I'm not really interested. And this guy went on a rant. He was like,
Oh no.
F you, screw you, I don't care what do you think you're hot? I don't like you.
What?
You can
Seriously?
die.
Oh no.
They're having problems.
No, I'm trying to censor myself. You know,
The guy
I
had
was just-
in his life.
I was just like, okay, nice chatting. Okay, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Seriously? Wow. Wow.
Just
like-
seriously.
Very
Bandai-
angry.
Trying so hard to make the unicorn the poster boy. I don't even think they're trying. I think they just outright are just said it already, right? The new
Yes.
poster boy unicorn. It's already, you know, we have the 1-to-1 scale, but this is now the poster boy. And honestly, I used to like the unicorn when I first started liking Gundam. I thought it was a really cool design, but I'm just so worn out. Everybody
Same
used
here.
to say I'm so worn out of the Barbatos when it came out. No, I'm tired of the unicorn. I'm tired
Yeah.
of all of the unicorn. It's really getting out of hand. But that's my rant. There's always a rant of the unicorn in every.
No,
episode.
I'm 100% with you. You know, I'm not even a big fan of the Phoenix design, and it has nothing to do with the chrome like metallic surfaces. I don't care much about that. You know, if they're going to make it really different between the two siblings, why not go the extra step? Why not do something really unique
Yes.
and magical about the external and internal parts of the inner frame? Make it drastically different from what you would see from Banshee and Unicorn Gundam. Something different.
Yeah.
And we didn't get that. And that's really disappointing. And plus, that kit's expensive.
Yes. The plating
Yeah.
and everything, it's really pricey. And then you want to change it, and it's like, do I really want to toss that much into it?
Yeah. It's I mean to his and each into their own.
exactly.
You know, if it's something you like, then you know, God bless you. I do hope you enjoy building it.
So,
God,
I got a buggy on the
I'm
next
sorry,
one.
man.
Anyway.
This is probably my most favorite thing out there because it sort of lines up exactly to my alley.
Because it has guns. Because it has guns.
Oh,
it has a lot
not
of
just guns,
and
missiles and everything it needs to. Yes, I do like speed, but do not skip the melee. I can point blank you with anything on this guy.
and you have it. Don't you have this kit, Derek, and you haven't built it yet?
Yes.
So Derek, so for you guys who don't know, Derek is actually a very avid collector of a lot of things. But can you tell us how many SD kits you have right now, Derek?
Maybe around 48.
Seriously?
Every
Yeah, he has-
48?
Yeah.
Do you do experiments with them like
No.
me? Because I bought like what 8 Barbatos just to do
You only have
experiments
a
with
whole
them.
collection of the what is it, the Dynasty Warrior ones?
Yes,
the
the Sengoku Warriors. I bought every single one of them. I want
They're
Yeah.
pretty cute.
They are, but I'm gonna paint them nice, and I'm gonna make a diorama one day. I'll say one day, one day. But going back, I love the Thunderbolt. That thing,
Oh.
this series, everything that just screams it, and I love what you've done to it. I love
you.
the idea that you actually managed to get a lot of the different colors all together in there. But I gotta have buggy on it because I looked at the manual on this thing. How do you manage to wire the gun? Holy shoot, that thing did.
It is. I made sure everything was modular. Nothing's like woven into one central spot. So the backpack unit, that's a separate power system, as well as the hand cannon and the Gundam itself. Everything, even the shoulders, are on their own circuit. And I made sure that they were designed that way, so that way there was no crowding of the wires or anything chipping or breaking. Like much like what I'm having now with Metal Gear Philanthropist, there's very little room to put all that electrical wire in, so you have to make just enough room where there's enough give to rotate the shoulders up and down. If it's a little too tight, it's going to tug on that wire and then pop, break it. So that was like the biggest challenge. Like the second biggest challenge was put on the pylon lights on the shoulder. So I got a lot of references from playing like Gundam Battle or that one free mobile Gundam game that's on the PlayStation 4. I played it for like a couple hours. I liked it, but it's not my thing. I prefer like something more fast paced, like you would see in Gundam Versus.
Yes.
But that was like my key reference there to them. Like, how did they make that work? Where can I put the LEDs? I don't want to put an LED in every single thruster because it would just be overblown and oversaturated. And it just wouldn't look right. Plus, it's more work for me trying to hide all that electrical wire. So I made sure I just focus on key areas like such as the two little vents on the face. It's a subtle little detail, but it looks super cool.
Right.
That did.
Seriously, the vents.
Yes.
How did you even think of that? Like, come on, man. How small is your Dremel? That's the thing.
I think those were like 2 Pico LEDs independently.
Seriously, that's so good.
It is really awesome.
Are the LEDs really placed literally inside that piece, or
Yes.
is it at the back, illuminating from the back?
No, they're both on each independent piece.
Each one's independent.
Where are they placed on the face shield? Like, for example, here.
Oh boy, I don't remember. It was such a long time. I make sure when I put the LEDs, they're either in back of the plastic or underneath it. So if you have, let's say you do like a side profile of the clear piece for the jewel for the camera module on the head, I want to make sure that there's just enough room there where I can cut down the middle and probably put an LED behind that plastic piece. If there's not enough room there to work with, then I'll just place it underneath it. But that means I got to use a smaller LED to pull off that effect. So I've done that method a lot with perfect grades.
What's the smallest size of LEDs anybody can get? Is it a nano? Is Pico smaller than nano? I'm not too sure on the size and category.
Pico is slightly smaller than nano, but there is one even smaller called the Z LED. And those are probably the most risky and the most fragile LEDs out there from Evans Designs. I think I used it on 3 of my projects, and I just kind of gave up on it. Because, like I mentioned before, when I work on one model kit after another, some of them are prone to fail. It just happens. But with the Z LEDs, they happen way too frequent. So it's a matter of risk and reward.
So let's say right now, I'm asking you, I want to start LEDs. I want to start on my journey on LEDs. What should I get? What are the ratios of the LED bulbs that I should get? For example, I'm an MG. I'm gonna focus on MGs. What are the ratio of the sizes of LEDs that I should get so that I could have enough stock to work on at least 2 to 3 kits?
Without a doubt, Pico LEDs are the best ones to start with.
Right. So I should just stock up on Picos, right? Because they work no matter big or small.
Yeah, not only they're small enough, but you can have they have multiple applications for it. Like a good example with the Zone of the Enders Jeopardy. I'm not sure there's any power left there. Yes, there is. There's hey Google, turn off the lights. Hopefully it works. Okay, hey Google, turn off the lights. Hopefully it works. There we go. So
wow.
Oh damn.
So these shoulders right here, these are Pico LEDs, as well as the thrusters in the back. Those are Picos as well.
So Picos are literally the way to go.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a buying advice for anybody out there because sometimes we are struggling on what to buy. Like we didn't know what to expect, and there are not much guides out there telling you what should you get for as a start. Right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
So literally, that's the thing that you need to hear, especially when it comes from James. It's solid. So if you guys got some money, you want to start on your LED journey, definitely get on with some Picos. You're safe. It's versatile enough to do it on a smaller kit or on a bigger kit. Small details, big details, it doesn't really matter. So you can stop buying those big ass bulb LEDs.
Oh, they're a nightmare. Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because those are the ones that we use in school during this kind of electronic classes, right?
Like
in school where they have the shorter and longer pack legs.
Yeah, like if you go to slide 2 for the Thunderbolt, you can see that I did use 3mm bulbs for the barrels. They're like the peak ones right there.
Bigger. Yep.
So definitely wider, definitely a bigger effect in the way how you want to do it. But as you can see, between a bulb versus a chip, you can see like the difference between the light difference. The pink's a little bit more conserved, while at the same time it still catches your attention. Where the Pico and the chip LEDs are just like they're loud, they twinkle, they have a nice spark to them. And I really wanted to capitalize on that look to make it look really authentic. So that was a challenge.
I think you can see what you just explained a little bit better on slide 22 on the right side picture. You can see the Pico one with the little twinkle all the way from that far away, and then you can still see the little, very very
Subtle.
small, the subtle pink.
But it's still there. You know that it's LED, right?
Yep, exactly. This is a beautiful piece of work.
So on barrels wise, you would use a bulb because it really shines, and like if it's inside a bazooka barrel or something like that, it will really shoot out the light. Right? Because you could be directing the light out of the barrels, so it will look authentic, right? So for any kind of signal lights, like for example the one that on the plane, the signaling lights,
yes,
instead, right? The Pico.
Sure, yeah, that's what I used for. Actually, I did it on the Core Fighter, and it worked really well. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, you could use chip, but they look weird. They stick out. At the same time, you don't want to draw too much attention with that. You want the attention to be on the kit, not your little imperfections on how you want to implement the LEDs. You just really want to capitalize on doing something that's nice, clean, and flushed out. And this was like a heavily requested model kit. Everyone was asking me to build a Thunder. They want me to build the other one.
Shoot.
Want me to build the other
Psycho
one.
Gundam.
Yes.
The Psycho Gun.
Yeah.
Psycho Zaku.
Yep.
Yeah. I tell everyone, like, I don't got the room. I'm sorry.
It's a big kit. It's a big box also.
Yep, it is.
Psycho Zaku.
Yeah, because I'm at the point where
Psycho Zaku. It's just so expensive.
yeah, like I'm at the point where I'm gonna need to give these kits away. I'll definitely have something set up for that, and I'm totally okay with that. But for me to continue working on more projects at a nice even pace, I need to make room.
Get them out of the house. Get them out of the
Yeah.
house.
Right.
Yeah,
Be like
better
me,
for my
I'm-
fans.
I sell every single thing, right? So as soon as I finish one, I'll sell it out. I'll sell it either for cheap or finding someone suitable just to sell it out. Because when you are a seasonal builder, especially like when I'm building 2 or 3 per month, it became a problem, right?
Yes.
There's so much appreciation that you can put into your kit to try to display it. Because especially over here in Asia, our houses are not that big. It's really small.
Yes.
Like my current studio is not even 100 square feet, to be honest.
Oh wow. Okay.
Right? So I don't even have space. I mean, look at the tools and all the kits that I have. It's full. I don't have
Yes.
space left. So literally, none of the kits that I built is on display right now. Seriously, nobody knows that I'm building anything here. It's all once I build it, shoot it, back in a box. Build
That's what I
shoot
do.
it, back in a box.
Same here.
Right.
Same here.
Right. This is a problem when you are a seasonal builder.
Yes.
Right? It's not a problem if you're a hobbyist. You just build 3 in a year or something like that. It doesn't matter. But when you build 3 in a month on and plus commission work and stuff like that, you really don't have the space.
Yeah. That's another key reason why I don't do commissions. Because I feel that it will impede upon my artistic flow and how I make content. And that's like another reason why when I do work on these kits, I don't have like the mindset. This is the one thing I need to stress upon when people do these kits. Don't build these kits for the sake of just trying to make money. Just build them for the sake of just having fun and learn from your pros and your cons. What you did good, what you can improve upon, what you could have changed, what you can improve upon. That's what you really should focus on. So when I build these kits, I always have the one mindset in the back of my head. Don't focus about on selling it. Live in the moment, enjoy the build. And at the same time, if you do it right, then people will get it when they see your video or when they see your photos. But if you have the mindset where you're like, I'm going to build it, I'm going to ship it, hopefully I can get paid.
No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work.
No.
You gotta have to focus on chasing excellence, and then success will automatically come.
Yes.
It's always like that, right? So let's move on to this water break.
Yeah.
Kisei Kushiki. What's that? You gotta educate me on that.
I would say, and I'm pretty accurate on this, this is the spiritual successor to the Virtual On series.
Right.
There are characteristics to it with where the light placements are, like where the knees and the crotch and the shoulder blades, very reminiscent to what you would see in the Virtualoid model kits and the virtual model rigs you would see in the video game. Very popular in Japan, not as popular here. It's a arcade exclusive. If I remember
Right.
correctly, it eventually did come out for the PlayStation 4, but it hasn't been localized. Hasn't got any subtitles to it, from what I understand. Um, I don't want to get too much into a game review, but it does correspond with this. The one thing I love about this particular mech, it's drastically different from the original Border Breaker kits that came out, I would say 3 or 4 years ago, and they weren't manufactured by Kotobuki. It was from another company, and I wish I got a chance of building it at the time. The differences between their style, how they do it, is drastically different. They're detailed, but there's still complexity to it. Whereas the original designs they did, not only that they're extremely detailed, but there's actually an inner frame for the cockpit area to put a little figurine. There's actually like little spring systems where you can move up and down the pistons and the arms and the knees. And at the same time, there's just enough clear areas where you can put custom LEDs. So the attention to detail for those kits are there. You just have to implement it correctly. This one, however, you only get one clear part, and that's going to be for the head, and that's it. So unless you watch the trailer like I did over and over again, you need to hunt down where you're going to put these LED lights. So I could have just went just simple and just put one in the head and just be done with it. But you know, I like this design a lot because it's a nice departure from building one Gundam kit over and over. Something new, something refreshing, something that's a challenge. And this was like one of those kits that was like a nice challenging build. So
Definitely, I can see the I just love the fact that in every single kit that you show us, you can literally see the hard work and the details, like what Jazz and Derek said over and over again. It's the details, and I literally can see every panel shaded, every panel weathered, one way or the other, whether it's an oil leak or it's a wash, something like that. It's just amazing to see the attention to details, and I can imagine how much of cotton buds you went through with every single kid. Right?
Yes.
I stopped buying cotton buds like packs. I buy pouches now. Seriously,
Yeah.
cotton buds. Right?
Yeah. But before this whole pandemic situation became out of hand, I would always go with my girl to, I forget the name of it, but it's like a store where you can buy all kinds of makeup and hair dyes and whatnot. And I just told her, like, can I go to the back and just buy like the Q-tips, what you ones you use for your nails?
Yep.
I would love to buy 8 of those. And she's like, yeah, just go get it. I know what you're doing it for. Go get it. I was like, thank you. Love
Because
you.
it's a room you're like working on your nails with them. She's like, oh, this is different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, man.
Seriously. Okay.
So real quick, we're nearing almost 2 hours on the show,
Okay.
and we don't want to. I know there's so much more to go through, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to. James, I don't know if you would mind, wanting to come back on the show.
Yeah,
actually.
without a doubt, man. Sure.
Because this is season 2.
Okay.
And normally, we did. I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because I want to hear about every single one of these, right? Because your work is extremely well done. But we did, tell our viewers and the viewers of the show that we would have a moment to ask their personal questions.
Yes.
To you, right? So we do want to get through that before we hit the 2-hour mark. And then outside for you guys, the viewers, we will talk to James and figure out when he can come back on the show. Maybe it'll be next week. Maybe it'll be in 2 weeks. But we're definitely going to get through all of these because I want to get to the Mazinga. But that's just me. All right. So we're going to go on to the questions real quick. I'm pretty Derek, I think you wrote them out.
Yeah, I translated them all over from Discord. Yes.
Oh, no.
So don't worry. There's a countdown of 14 questions. Okay.
Okay, cool.
But it's not too bad. So, all right. So I got the first one. The first post there was from Gundam Meister. Emphasis on the dumb, but okay. When did you start building? And I think we answered that earlier at the start. And what or who are the things and people that inspire you to start building? So I think we covered that at the very beginning. So I think we got that cool. And I think you just need to go back to the very beginning and just listen again. All right. So question number 2, old school skill. Question for Otakubuilder. When you finish your building your kits, how do you go about displaying them in your house? As most of your builds come with LEDs and some of them are 100 and bigger.
Yes. Well, the beautiful thing about it, when I do finish these kits, a lot of people do end up buying them. So that actually helps free up some of the room. I do have a display case that was left by my mother. It's like an old china cabinet that she left here, like I think it was like 10 years ago. And I keep them there. But unfortunately, I am running out of room and I have nowhere else to put those guys. So that's why I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what? I think I'm better off just, doing a nice giveaway once I hit 30,000 subscribers. I think it's well overdue that I just need to give these guys away. I'm not focusing about getting any money. I'm not focused about just trying to get popularity. I genuinely just want to give something back to the community. And
nice.
it's just so welcoming to really understand that there's people that appreciate what I do. And at the same time, when I get that same kind of love back, I get people that are more inspired to get into this hobby. I get messages every single day from fathers that are introducing this kits to their daughters and their sons, and they're telling me like, I'm in my late 40s. I stopped building kits back when I was in my 20s, but when I saw your videos, I'm like, this is such a great hobby. I need to get back into this. And there's something about your videos that just really encouraged me to get back into it. And I'm like, great. That means I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
So without a doubt, you guys just stay tuned. Once I hit 30K, there's going to be a big giveaway. So
you know what, guys? Just go ahead, search for Otakubuilder on YouTube. He's 400 away from hitting 30K. So you guys want to win something from him. So definitely go on and subscribe to his channel, Otaku Space Builder.
Yes.
So thank you. All right. Question number 3. Noble Mecha. How do you go about installing LEDs in your kits? I think we sort of went through a little bit.
Yeah, we went through there a little bit. It's all throughout the episode.
I was going to say, check out the videos on his page.
Or watch his videos. You can see him do everything in the videos. His videos are beautifully detailed.
Shoot, the music in the background's amazing. So.
Oh my God, yes.
All right. Question number 4. Last line. He has 2 questions.
Okay.
Question 1. Is it possible to replace the LEDs you installed when they go out? And B, what are some great resources for installing LEDs?
Like resources. Well, okay. So depending on the grade, you can have some success. Like a good example, so like Sahelanthropus, I'm working on it right now. I had a Pico LED that went out on one of the shoulders because I didn't put enough give away in the wire when it was connected to the ball joint socket. So when I lifted up like, a couple of degrees up, it broke. So I was like, okay, it's not a problem. I can just pull it out, take that part apart, use an X-Acto blade to pop it in, clean it up a bit so I can get rid of the glue residue that's there, and then put in another one. It's relatively easy, but it all depends on the grade. So if we're talking about something like a perfect grade, shouldn't be a problem. It all depends on the complexity and the design of it. If we're talking about something that is a master grade, it varies. It all comes down to how the inner frame's designed. It all comes down to how you worked with it and how to funnel all that wiring to one isolated area. Because that's always going to be the challenging part for every kit. And if it's an SD kit, no problems. If you're just focusing on just lighting up the eyes and then the backpack, you're fine. It's not that hard. The thing is, it's just like when I would always recommend when people buy Evans Designs lights, just buy like a extra 1 or 2, just in case some of them fail. It doesn't hurt to have some spare ones lying around because you never know. That's what happened with me. I make sure I always buy 1 or 2 extra, and then you should be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So hopefully that answers that question. Got Gunpla Pimp. Yes, that's what. No,
love it.
Question number 5. It gets better all the time. What is one trick you wish you knew from the very beginning or starting, like something that makes a difference or a step you never skip now that you've been doing now since start building?
Breaking out from the habit of using aerosol cans and now adapting to using airbrush. And what I mean by that is like I'm slowly starting to progress from not using an aerosol can to do paintings of the inner frame or using a airbrush to do primer. I'm now starting to get comfortable using primer paints with an airbrush. There is a downside to it, and that's just you have to constantly clean it out every time you use primer in there. But that's the beautiful thing about it. The more you get used to that repetition, then you start to find out better ways how to clean it over and over again.
Yeah.
So, and plus at the same time, you're saving so much money. I kid you not, you are saving so much money instead of wasting $10 to like $12 on a yay big aerosol can of primer.
Yeah.
And when you buy something smaller, you're like saving like $20 or $30, and that can go through like 5 or 4 kits. It's wonderful. So, you know, as you can see through my video, there is a growing process. So, as like the one thing I would really advise for people that get into this hobby, learn to break out of the not hobbies. Learn how to break out of the habits of starting from one thing and move to another. For example, if you like working with Tamiya paint, there are other brands out there that work just as well. You know, if you don't like working with Tamiya primer, there's Vallejo, there is Mission Models, there are other third parties out there. There's even new companies that are making their own primer. It doesn't hurt to try something new, and that's like the one thing I would definitely be really focused on, just trying to get out of that habit. And I absolutely love just working with primer with an airbrush. Like no more with a can. Eventually I'm trying to get tired using Tamiya aerosol for gray, but eventually I'll get tired of that and then try something new with that. So.
Nice. Yeah, I've been trying to get my girlfriend away from using the spray cans because they cost me a lot.
Oh, I know it. I know it too well.
Episode, yo.
Actually, she's probably yelling at me.
Don't watch this, Alina. Don't
She
watch
probably
this.
is watching me. She's gonna yell at me later. So, question number 7. I got from Sean. Tips for beginners for installing LEDs.
Tips. Don't overthink it, and start with SD kits are becoming a lot more fun. Tackle the cross silhouette series. Those are excellent. There's a ton of cavity space in there. There's tons of room to do custom installation. And then once you get comfortable with that, then move on to the master grades, and then so on and so forth. So start with the ones that are affordable. There's no need for, don't be like me when I try to experiment with LEDs practicing on a perfect grade. Okay, that's just how like thirsty I was to try something new and refreshing. Start something small and then work your way up, because if you do this correctly, you know, you grow and accelerate your skill like organically, then you're not going to make as many mistakes. You're going to be more interested in trying new and exciting ways how to put these lights in. So SD cross silhouette series, without a doubt, work your way up to a master grade, followed by maybe do a different type of 1/100 scale, and then when you feel comfortable enough, tackle a perfect grade. Strike Freedom is an excellent candidate for a perfect grade.
Nice.
Right.
That's awesome.
And I think for right now that'll be the questions, and the next ones we'll tackle when you come back, because it is a lot of questions.
Yes.
You know, so because I know people, you know, normally they stay on for like 2 hours, and you don't want to just push it. But I think Justin has actually.
Last question?
Yeah,
One
yeah,
last
Justin.
question.
What's
Like
up?
I mentioned, I noticed you mentioned SD and then MG and PG. What about high grades and real grades? Like, I don't see many people putting LEDs on them. I mean, is there any particular reason because of the size?
No, I've worked with smaller kits. I remember building the Arbalest from Full Metal Panic, and that kit was really cool. But the downside is to put LEDs in there, there's no clear parts. So to help to get to LED parts to put in there, you got to buy a separate kit. Much like what happened with the Strike Freedom Gundam, I had to buy 2 separate kits. One being affordable, the other one being super expensive. So there are times where sometimes clear pieces just won't work. You got to work what you have. So another high grade kit I did do custom LED lights was the Bear Guy family. I believe I did that one. And I know there wasn't any clear parts in there. I know there was a way to implement something that can work, but that means I had to do some custom cutting, and at the same time make sure everything was properly measured and properly spaced out, while at the same time making sure it's not overcrowded to the point where it doesn't damage the lights. So, you know, there's this nice ballet act that you have to figure out what will work and what doesn't work. You know, like for example, I'm looking at the RG Eva Unit 1 behind this gentleman right here. You know, how would I put an LED in that guy?
Right.
You know, is it possible? Yes. Is it difficult? Yes.
Yes.
It's possible. It is absolutely possible. but you just gotta free your mind, like Morpheus says, free your mind.
Oh,
You
God,
gotta free
yes.
your mind and just figure out a way how to work with this to make it, pull off the way you want. And I'll honestly say, you can still put in an LED inside AVA Unit 1, and like you can do it AVA Unit 0, and most definitely AVA Unit 3 coming out in late
Yes.
September. I'm buying that because everyone's gonna bug me if I don't. So,
Oh, we will.
so you just gotta keep your mind open and try new things. And sometimes some of them work, sometimes they don't. Other parts they won't have any clear parts. Other parts they don't. You just kind of have to find a way to work around it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, James. Again, we finally hit the 2 hours mark. We'll
Right on.
definitely invite you to be back on the show, our part 2. We'll talk about that later behind the scenes, right?
Sure.
So anybody who's watching this, don't feel like we left you guys hanging by not going through all the slides and all his work, because there's just so much stuff that he did at such an amazing details that we have to take some time to talk about them to do them justice.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
If not-
We don't want to
if not,
rush it.
It's not fair.
Absolutely.
It's not fair
Yes.
for his work. It's not fair to just skim through his work, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
definitely,
honestly.
Jess and Derek, anything you guys want to add on to James?
No, I'm very, very happy. I'm very thankful to actually, for the first time for me, being on here as a co-host, and for you to be my first to actually be around. I'm very, very excited. Go hope that we guys have this
Right.
again.
Right on.
Right. So James, any final thoughts? before we say
Yeah.
goodbye?
I actually have a wonderful quote from a Twitter user by name of Kofi Ofsu. He's an independent artist that does a lot of digital illustrations. And around the Black Lives Matter situation that occurred a couple months back, he wrote something very impactful to me, and I still use it today on how I proceed work. So in his tweet, he writes, "It takes time to develop your craft. Do not romanticize the idea of an overnight success. Be the student. Grow organically. Practice. Analyze your work critically. Study over and over and over. Find new ways to express the same ideas. The student becomes the master. Your time will come."
Right. That is
Wonderful.
That is a great one.
That's
That
That's
is
beautiful. That's a beautiful
Absolutely
quote.
love it.
That's a beautiful quote.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Right.
And then you got the voice for it. Man, it's just
Yes.
it's
Oh,
amazing.
man, come on. Seriously. Dude, who is Morgan Freeman anyway? Who is he? Who is Morgan? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. James, thank you again for coming.
You're
to the
welcome,
show.
guys.
And we definitely appreciate you. I'm pretty sure everybody on the audience they're thrilled to have you on the show, and we are waiting for you to come back on part 2 and to actually
Yes.
finish your work.
Yes.
Right.
Amen.
So-
I look forward to it.
So definitely, you guys heard it first here in GTS that James will be giving away one of his work when he reached 30,000. So anybody who's watching this, please go on to YouTube, search for Otakubuilders, and subscribe to his channel so that we can get the giveaway as soon as possible. Exactly.
Subscribe to him, please.
Thank you.
Subscribe. All right. Don't forget, if you like this video, like this video. If you don't, then it's fine. Leave us a comment. Tell us how to improve the show and what
Yes.
artists or what guests would you like to see next in our show as well. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. And we'll see you guys next time.
Okay.
Bye
See you
See you guys.
guys. Great.
bye.